Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in once again. My name's Joanna M. Cameron. I'm a mental health therapist and a life coach, and I'm bringing you mental health tips and life coaching tools that are going to help you navigate through your everyday life. Now, what I want you to remember is to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and make sure you're liking the video. Please share the video if you find something in the video that may be useful for someone else. Today we are going to talk about relationships. I've talked about relationships before in a video that I've done with Dorian and I together on what our relationship was like and some things that kind of look for in a relationship to enhance the relationship, make it better. But today I'm going to talk to you about 3 reasons why relationships fail. And yes, there are many reasons why relationships fail, but today I'm just going to give you 3 reasons why relationships definitely can go south pretty fast. All right, so the number 1 reason on my list is communication. Now, yes, I've talked about communication before and how it's important to have good communication with your significant other. It's not necessarily that we're not communicating, it's how we're communicating. Now, every relationship definitely has its problems. The problem comes in when you're not communicating in a positive way, I guess, of those problems that you're having. So I'm going to give you a tip that I use with my clients every day on building good communication skills. And yes, there's good communication, and yes, there's bad communication. We want to make sure that we have good communication skills so that when those problems do arise, we can avoid being part of the statistics of why relationships fail. So what I want you to do is think about a sandwich. Think about one with a nice big fluffy bun and a big thick patty of meat in between and a nice fluffy bun on the bottom. So picture that in your head, this big fluffy bunned burger. And so you have soft on top, you've got the meat in the middle, and you've got soft on the bottom. So in good communication, you want to use the sandwich method. So you want to go into that communication with something positive, something soft and light and fluffy to kind of butter them up a little bit. Tell them how good they've been in certain areas, something that you really like about how they treat you or what they do for you. And then the meat is exactly what it is. You want to get to the meat of the subject. You want to get to what's actually bothering you. So you really start to talk about the things that are going wrong in the relationship or the things that you feel are going wrong. You don't want to use this as an opportunity to start placing blame. So you definitely want to focus the attention on yourself. So for example, you don't want to say, you always do this, or you never do this, or I don't like when you do this. What you do want to say is, it really hurts me when you do things like this, or it makes me feel sad when things like this happen, or I felt really hurt when you said that mean thing to me. So those are some examples of how you can bring up the meat of the conversation, but keep the focus on you and not point the finger at them and place blame. Because what that does when you place blame and you point the finger and you're constantly telling them what they did wrong is you're forcing them to put up a wall. So they have to shield and protect themselves from all the attacks. And so that just heats up the arguments and the conversation so that there is no effective communication that can take place when you're placing blame. So remember, something soft on top, the meat of the subject in the middle by keeping it on how it makes you feel. And then to complete the sandwich, that bottom bun, you want to, again, say something positive. So even though I feel this way and these things that happened were really hurtful, I know how good of a person you are, and I've seen you at your best, and I really enjoy those times, and I really would like more of those times when you're giving me what I need and you're making me feel happy and positive about a relationship. So that's an example of positive communication and the sandwich method. So try that and see how that goes for you. And number 2, just be mindful that everybody comes into a relationship with their own biases of how a relationship should go, what a relationship should look like. And you have to kind of be respectful of what each other is bringing into the relationship. This person's raised this way, and this person is raised this way. And unless you are talking about that and understanding and respecting the differences between the two, then that can cause a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of confusion. Because now what you're doing is you find yourself kind of looking around at how other people's relationships are going, and you're combining that with how your relationship expectations in your mind were built based on what you grew up with, and you're trying to combine all of that stuff together, and you haven't really identified for yourself what a happy, healthy relationship for you looks like. And that's important. You want to make sure that you know what you want. Sometimes we just kind of borrow from people and we think, oh, well, that looks good, I'll take some of that in my relationship, or that looks good, I'll take some of that in my relationship. And that's actually okay to do that, but don't forget that you need to identify for yourself what you want and what works for you and what you like and what the two of you like together. And I think that we allow those biases that we kind of carry over from our upbringing into our relationships, of the expectations of what our parents had or what the grandparents that we saw who lived together for 80 years of their life and how their relationship was. And we expect it to look just like that in our relationship. And it doesn't always happen that way. And when it doesn't, we kind of think, oh, I must not be doing something right, or maybe I should give up on this. And that's not exactly what needs to happen. You just need to identify for you what is best for you. So think about that before you decide to jump ship. Doesn't have to look like what you see on the outside, because you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it you may like, some of it you may want to borrow, some of it may just be crap and a full facade. So don't let everything that you've seen on the outside be the way that you want to shape your relationship behind your doors. Decide for yourselves what works for you, and don't let your relationship suffer because of false perceptions of relationships of others. So that's number 2. And the third and final reason that a relationship can fail is because you might be moving a little too fast. And by that, I mean you're expecting so much of your partner before you even give it a chance. So it's almost like the relationship is doomed to fail before it even gets started. So you go into this relationship, you meet this great guy, and you start dating and you're spending time together, but instantly you're trying to turn it into a marriage. You're trying to get them to walk you down the aisle, and they haven't even come spent any time at your house or hung out with your family or got a chance to meet your family or talk to your family, but you're already picturing them as your husband or your wife, and that's really not fair. So you just want to make sure that you slow down a little bit, don't move too fast, give the relationship some time to grow and nurture the relationship so that you can learn how to communicate properly, so that you can understand what their wants and needs are in regards to a relationship, and talk about some of those things from their past and from your past, and how the two can merge together in a positive way before you're trying to rush them into marriage or to move in with you. Give it some time to nourish and to grow. It's no rush on spending time getting to know someone. Date them. You may have this biological clock that's just tick, 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 ticking, but if you slow it down a little bit, get time to know the person, you can avoid a lot of major pitfalls that can come into play later on in the relationship, and sometimes early in the relationship. So these are just my 3 tips that I have in hopes that you can have that loving relationship that'll last a long, long time. And if you learn to communicate, understand their past, where they came from, what their expectations are, talk about that together, and slow it down a little bit. Enjoy the romancing, enjoy the dating, enjoy the flirting, enjoy all of that for a while before you're trying to move them in and lock them down. And that can go for guys and girls. It can go both ways. So that's what I have for you today. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you have any questions, are you guilty of some of these things? And try that sandwich method, because that actually works no matter who you're with, whether it's a relationship, a family member, a friend. It really, really works. So let me know if you're able to try it, what you think of it. And I will be here, same place, next week. Bye for now.